Huy Quan, you and Kevin Feige first worked together on X-Men way back in the day, and I know he called you with an invite to join the MCU and Loki. So what was that moment like?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Joyce. It's wonderful talking to you. Yeah, I remember working with Kevin back on the set of the X-Men. And of course, not long after that, he started running Marvel, and I always loved him. I always enjoyed working with him. But I secretly, I guess, I wanted to work with him when he was making all these wonderful Marvel movies. So never did I think that I would get a chance to be part of the MCU family. And it was really, I owe a great deal to our casting director, Sarah Finn, who is the same casting director for Everything Everywhere All at Once, for all the Marvel projects. And also, I did a movie with her called Electric State with the Russo brothers. So I feel like I owe her a great debt. But when our movie Everything Everywhere just came out, and it was around the same time that she was casting for Loki season 2, and she saw our movie, and she called Kevin Feige and told him that, oh, I have the perfect person to play Ouroboros. And she pitched it to Kevin, and Kevin loved the idea. And it was literally the next day, I got a call from my agent. And he said, you're going to get a call from Kevin Feige tomorrow between 5 to 7 p.m. And I was nervous at the same time. I was excited. I had no idea what it was about. They were very secretive. Um, and I remember I had a meeting right before that, and I told the person I was having a meeting with, and I said, I'm so sorry, but when my alarm clock goes off, I have to get out of here. And I didn't tell him what it was about. And so sure enough, my alarm clock went off, and I got out of there, got in the car, and I was driving, home, just waiting for this call from Kevin Feige. And sure enough, my phone rang, and it had a number on the caller ID. Now I've heard about this famous call from Kevin, and it's always like it's a no caller ID number from Burbank. So that's what I was expecting. So I didn't know, it was at that time I was getting a lot of spam calls, so I thought it was one of those spam calls, and I was like debating whether to pick it up or not. But sure, I'm glad I did. And immediately Kevin said, "Hi, Key, this is Kevin Feige," and he spent 10 minutes talking about how much he loved Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I was getting really emotional because it meant so much to me that he enjoyed our movie. And right after that, he says, "Key, I would love for you to join the MCU." And that was, one of the greatest days of my life. And honestly, I remember watching Loki season 1 when it first came out. It was during the pandemic, and I thought it was one of the best television shows that was ever made. So to be invited to be part of that was really amazing.
Mhm. And it's so like fitting too. It feels like so full circle of you starting to act again, and then the character's name is Ouroboros, so it's just like everything is and reuniting with Kevin too on this. I love Obie, the character. He's so much fun, and I love his personality because he's just cheerful and upbeat and really passionate about his work. It feels like he doesn't take anything for granted, but he's also just been by himself downstairs in RNA for 400 years. So what were you told by Kevin Wright and Eric Martin about the character, and how did you approach Obie when you got the part?
It was one of the, I didn't audition for this.
Hmm.
So I was under tremendous pressure because when I read the script, I fell in love with this character immediately. He was quirky, he was funny, he was energetic, and I didn't know how to play him. And I was struggling for a while, and I had meetings with Eric Martin and our showrunner Kevin Wright, and we were just talking about like like I was trying to find out what their version of this character is. And I was asking a bunch of questions, and I remember, Back to the Future was one of my favorite movies of all time. And I said, is he like, Doc Brown in Back to the Future? And they go, no, 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 no. And they were throwing out some names, and I felt it didn't quite click with me. And so I was just struggling, and I was like, how should I play him? And I was in London, and we had like 3 weeks to prep for this. And so I was going into Pinewood Studios to get fitting and to get hair and makeup done for camera tests and all that. And I was told that they were building the Ouroboros set right in the stage across from us. I was asked if I wanted to go see it. And I said, sure. And as I was walking there, I looked up, and on the stage that they were building Ouroboros set, I saw Roger Moore, the name Roger Moore. That stage was called Roger Moore Stage. And immediately it dawned on me that Ouroboros is a variant of Data from the Goonies. And it was like immediately then I go, wow, now I get it. And I can see clearly what this character is. And I saw, the Goonies again to just kind of remind myself what it was like playing Data, all those wonderful memories that I had, and just kind of my thoughts of it when I played him. So I kind of had to travel 30 years back in time to find
You
my
have to time
motivation to
slip. That's
play.
all.
Yeah, time slip, exactly. Yeah. And I brought all those wonderful memories that I had on that set into the present and brought all that energy into Ouroboros. And it was just, I mean, clearly it was just one of the best gifts I've ever gotten.
Another full circle moment.
Another full circle moment. And then also, for many years, we've talked about making the Goonies too. And I always wanted that to happen because I thought it would revive my acting career. But of course, that never come to pass. So getting this opportunity to play Ouroboros was really incredible. And I'm really happy, and I'm kind of at peace that if Goonies 2 doesn't happen, I will always have Loki.
You have the Data variant. There you go.
Yeah,
So
data variant, exactly.
how does Obi retain his enthusiasm after 400 years in the basement by himself? His last visitor was 400 years ago, Mobius.
And that's what's so great about him is, first of all, I guess there's no unions at the TVA because they're making him work 24/7.
Does he even
Um,
sleep? I don't.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't sleep. There's a great line. He says, "No, no sleep." He works like for
Yeah.
400 years, day and night, all by himself. And I think it is what I really love about this character is his enthusiasm, his attitude, and also wanting to just be part of the team,
Mhm.
to be able to contribute to the TVA. And that's what I really love about playing him, about this character.
Mhm. You have also one of the best introductions too, I think, of like any character with when Loki and Mobius come downstairs and meet you, and then we get that great scene when it cuts back and forth, like present and the past. So what was it like shooting that scene and playing, like slightly different versions because it's past and present with Tom and Owen?
Yeah, I remember reading the script for the first time, and that was, the first scene that Ouroboros is introduced, and I loved it, and I was laughing out loud. But at the same time, I didn't know how that would play out. And being on set with Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, and them giving me notes and also helping me and welcoming me into this wonderful Loki family. That was exactly what I needed, and we just had. We had an incredible time doing it together, but also they are so serious about the show. And when I first got there, we actually had like a rehearsal, me and Tom and Owen and Kevin and the creative team. And that was the scene that I rehearsed with them. And it was just really, breaking down all the beats and analyzing every dialogue with them, and they were so meticulous with every sentence, every verb, every adjective, and it was quite an experience for me because I've never done a show where I was part of that process. So they really opened their arms and welcomed me in.
Mhm. And what was it like just learning the type of dialogue too? Because there's all these like, there's so much lore and then like the technical stuff and all these like made up terms. Like it's the throughput multiplier, the temporal loom, you have to do this and that. And I'm like, sure. Even as a viewer, I'm just like, sure. Yes.
Joyce, let me tell you, it
But
was
I
not
believe
easy.
it.
It was not easy at all. Like temporal loom, I didn't even know, I didn't even understand it. I had to ask him to show me visually so I can see it in my head. Throughput multiplier, I think it took me like tens of times saying it before I got it right. Uh, and of course, Ouroboros is tasked with, a lot of the technical terms and also like how TVA works. That was a quite a challenge for me. But honestly, I mean, it's when you work with, great talents like Tom and Owen and Kevin Wright and Eric Martin, it's much easier than
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
doing it
I mean,
alone.
you did a great job because you did have a lot of that, the exposition dialogue, but it like I think you still understand it when you see the show and we hear it from you. It's like, oh, I get you have to do this, and like
Yeah,
this is how you
and
fix something.
that is really thanks to my experience working on Everything Everywhere All at
Mhm.
Once, because I was also tasked. My character was tasked
Yeah,
with, this like complex
explaining. Yeah.
exposition, explaining it. So I got that experience, and then so going into this, it felt a little bit better. It felt a little familiar, but at the same time, it was completely different. Uh, so it's memorizing lines and just saying it over and over again until I can grasp what I was saying. That was the process for me.
Mhm. Obie is also very funny. I love his quirky like sense of humor, the way like it's almost like sort of like dry humor. But I love when you made the model of the loom and you were so embarrassed that it wasn't ready yet because I only had one coat of paint and you're like, forgive the shoddy and slapdash work. It's not to scale. I haven't finished making the figures. How did you approach the funny moments like that?
That was a creative meeting that I had with
Mhm.
Kevin Wright and Eric Martin, and they explained to me that so here is this guy that's been working all by himself for 400 years, and so he's never had, aside from Mobius accidentally coming into his department only one time. But other than that, he's all by himself. So he's never had any human interaction with anybody. So over the years, he's gotten like kind of, you know, weird or quirky just because of that. I really had to let that sink in to understand what would it be like if you were to work by yourself and only by yourself for a long, long time. And of course, something that I could not possibly understand, but I can try to envision what it was like. So it was a conversation that I had, and of course we also had wonderful directors, Aaron and Justin in the beginning, guiding my performance. And again, because this was a role that was given to me, and I didn't have to audition for it, so I was really afraid that my interpretation of this wonderful character would disappoint them. So I was really nervous in the beginning, but thank God I was working with great talents, like I said.
They wanted you. You couldn't disappoint them. So come on.
Yeah. No, no, I mean, honestly, it was I really love our show, and
Mhm.
I'm so proud of it. And that's why when it first came out, I was so excited. I wanted to go around the world and tell
I know, but the
everybody.
strike.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The strike happened and it prevented us from talking about the show. But I'm
But now we
really
can talk
happy
about it
that
all we want. So
we can talk
yeah.
about it, and then it did really well when it came out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, for sure. In the fifth app, we meet AD Doug, the Sacred Timeline version of Obie, and he's still, he's a sci-fi writer, and he's still very passionate about his job, and he's buying his own books in the bookstore. So, how did you approach that version of Obie?
It was very similar, I think, between because it is the same variant
Mhm.
Doug got plucked from the main timeline into the TVA. And it was, again, it was like trying to understand that passion for something. Like, he wanted to be a science fiction writer. And he self-published this book, that attitude of like not giving up, uh, and to pour everything he has into it, despite nobody wanted to read his book, and he would just put him, in a bookstore, hopefully hoping that, someone would buy
And then they
it.
kick him out because he
That
keeps
that
doing it.
passion, that dedication is something that I think I can personally relate to. It's really looking like within myself and my own passion for acting all these years and not giving up. So that kind of really resonated with me. And it was not only, going back in time and finding my memories of playing data, but also like reaching within myself too, and bringing some of that into this character.
Yeah. I love the finale, just the whole the way it, provides closure for Loki the character too, and his sacrifice and what he does, for his group of friends, and Obie himself. Like, he starts the season by himself, and he ends it having a group of friends. He was part of the team. So for you, like, key personally, like, what was it like reading that final script for the season and finding out like how it was going to end? And what do you think OB is gonna do now? Like, now we see him upstairs more often, hang out with people. He rebooted Miss Minutes, so she
Yeah.
might not be evil anymore. So what do you see for him in his future?
Well, first of all, when I read the last episode, I was really emotional because I thought the character Loki, the transformation that he went through, that arc was one of the most beautiful character arcs that I've seen, on screen. And just how he went from this selfish villain to this selfless hero, was amazing for me to witness. And there was so much changes to the TVA in the last episode. Every character had some sort of, happy ending to them, especially for Ouroboros, who was by himself, who was really lonely, and now he has friends. He doesn't have to be alone in that department anymore. It was really sweet, and also, he wrote the TVA guidebook all by himself. But then there was a second
Yeah,
edition,
he added
the
Victor Timely.
contribution with Victor Timely, and also with Eugene Cadero's
Mhm.
character as well too. So that was something to see him go through that. It was beautiful. And hopefully, we'll get to see more of him. I don't know, but
Are you dropping hints?
no, I
We
know.
have
I
another call
don't
from
know anything
Kevin.
about it. I don't know anything about, but that was one of the questions that I asked Kevin Feige, because I love him so much. And I said, "Is this a one-time thing?" And then, and he was really sweet, and he says, "Key, he always approaches these projects with the fans in mind. And if the fans like the character,
They definitely like the character.
yeah. So I'm down. I'm very grateful that Loki season 2 got the kind of, response and good reception that he did.
hmm Well, which other character in the MCU would you like to see Obi interact with?
Wow, that's a great question because the MCU is such a vast
hmm
universe. I love all the characters. I really one of the when I got back into acting, joining the MCU was at the top of my wish list. Because to be a part of that and to do something where it gets watched by the biggest audience, is, it's truly a gift for any actor. I love all the movies. I love all the television shows. I grew up watching a lot of the Saturday cartoons, with, Spider-Man, of course, Iron Man, X-Men, all these wonderful characters. So I don't know. I would love to, yeah, I would love to see a scene with any of them.
hmm I feel like he would be fun with Thor.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I
You,
love
you
Thor,
know,
and
just
I
meet
and
meet the whole family.
meet the whole family, the Hulk. Uh, And yeah, I love to see more of them. Hopefully, fingers
Mhm.
crossed.
Yeah. Well, lastly, like these last couple years have just been such a whirlwind and also so inspirational too, just to see what's been happening for you, your comeback to acting and everything everywhere, the Oscar, Loki, and now you're shooting with Love, which is also your first lead role in the film. So what has the last couple years been like for you, and what can you tell us about with Love?
Well, with love, I'm currently in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. We are on the last stretch of the movie. It's going really well. We have an amazing cast. Ariana DeBose is in this, who, as you know, presented me with the
Yes.
Oscars last year, and Daniel Wu and Moshan Lynch. Uh, and yeah, it's really good. This is an action movie. It's a romance. It's a Valentine's movie. We have some really epic fight scenes in this. And I'm bruised all over. I wake up feeling very sore every day. But I gotta tell you, Joyce, I could not be happier because this is my first time leading in a movie by a major studio. So that is something that another dream came true. Uh, and honestly, ever since Everything Everywhere came out, it has just been an incredible journey. Um, yeah, it's everything that I wish for came true. Uh, People are calling, filmmakers are looking to work with me. Uh, you know, my agent's phone is ringing. So that is something that's really, yeah, I'm very, very happy and very grateful.
Sure. And Kevin Feige was the first one, right?
Kevin Feige was the first one, yeah, it's incredible. I remember that day well, and he's such a wonderful man. Also, he's like, he loves what he does. He really loves this universe. Every time I talk with him, his his enthusiasm, his passion for this universe shines through very much like Ouroboros. Uh, Very much like, A.D. Doug, the wannabe science fiction writer. And that passion really stems from Kevin. So to be a part of this, to be able to work for him is amazing.
Sure. Well, he was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on Loki, on everything, really. And fingers crossed for more Obie. And can't wait to see with love. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Great talking to you.